everyone, this is Nikki Rowland and today I have a layout for Lottie Loves Paper. I'm playing along with the weekly sketch challenge for this week and I'm using Bungalow Lane by Paige Evans. So this week's sketch is slightly controversial, possibly not quite as extreme as that, but it is definitely a bit of a different type of sketch. It has lines going across I don't know, like a spider web or potentially like a washing line where you'd hang things from. I suppose, yes, it's probably more like that because there are kind of photos hanging on almost pegs. It's a bit different. It's a bit out of comfort zone for sure. We didn't have many volunteers to do this one on the design team group. I took this one I normally quite like a sketch that's out of my comfort zone because I tend to find that working with a sketch that or trying to achieve something that is outside of your comfort zone can often be a really fun experience and can also sometimes result in my best work. I'm not sure today's layout is my best work, but it's definitely something that I enjoyed doing. I enjoyed the challenge of creating something a bit different. So anyway, I am using the Paige Evans Bungalow Lane collection from Lottie Loves Paper, which is beautiful. I really loved this scallop paper, and I've seen lots of people do different things by cutting out the scallops individually, arranging them in circles and that kind of thing. Well, I thought they would be ideal in strips to use as the lines on this sketch. So I cut out, I had to make sure that I had the right lines because I wanted them to go 12 by 12, you see, and on some rows, you had a half scallop at either end. So I just made sure I chose the rows that were full scallops all the way along. And I cut out 6 of those to represent the 6 lines on the sketch. I'm going to arrange those kind of like bunting across the layout rather than like a washing line, for example. So I'm using a white background. This is something I don't do that often these days. I don't use white that often anymore. I tend to use quite a lot of pattern paper now on my background. So therefore, the white is now feeling a little bit outside my comfort zone, and it was looking really, really white. And as much as there are lots of colours in the bunting, I thought that there needed to be some colour behind my photos. I'm also saving a lot of my paper for another project that I'm planning to do. I'm hoping to do a mini album, therefore I didn't want to cut up lots of papers to just act as paper layers. So I thought I'd go ahead and add some mixed media. Now, I have this, no one will believe me, but this is the first time I have ever used Distress Oxide inks. Actually, I did do a class once where we used them, but I've never owned any. This is the first time that I've used my stash, which of course I got from lovely Lottie Loves Paper as well. Everyone was getting them and I thought, oh, I should probably get some too. So I've got a few colours on the go here. I haven't got many colours myself, so what you see here is almost my entire stash. I realise I don't have a navy, so I've had to reach for a different brand of ink pad to use the navy colour. So I've used, the yellow colour was fossilised amber, the teal tone was peacock feathers, the orangey tone is abandoned coral, and I've also used the lighter kind of greeny colour, which is called Twisted Citron. So I've used those 4 Distress Oxides, I've also used a navy ink pad that I grabbed just from my stash. It's a Stamp Market one, really juicy. I like those ink pads very much. And I've created like 4 areas that will go behind my photo. And I've blended them together with blending tools. I don't have any of those fancy brushes that people are using these days. I should probably get myself some, but at the moment I'm still using the old style Tim Holtz foam blender things. But I've got the domed pads, which I just find work so much better than the flat ones. So delighted that those were invented. So I have a blend. I drew the areas around where my photos were going to go, and then added some colour by blending 2 colours together. I've then splashed water on top of them because the Distress Oxides react with water. I'm sure everyone knows that already, but it's quite a new phenomenon to me. I also added some splatters of the same colours, and I've also added splatters of white paint as well. So I've really gone to town, really, with my first time using Distress Oxides. Of course, I've kept my areas fairly small. I haven't got a large area of mixed media on this layout at all. Just stuck to just under my photos. Basically, I wanted to kind of create a glow of colour around the photos. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to add my bunting now. I've just put tape on the ends of each row, and then I'm putting foam pads everywhere else. I actually wasn't quite sure how this would work with the levels, so I didn't put foam pads everywhere, and then I had to, when I stuck them on, I had to go back and add extra foam pads onto the ones that I had missed. But I did do that for a reason. That was because they were going to be overlapping in some places, and I was worried about having too many different levels. So I'm glad I did it that way, but I did have to then go and secure my bunting in place with extra foam pads once they were already in position. So yeah. So okay. So I think yes, it's dry enough, and I'm just going to go ahead and add it. Of course, I'm trying to stick to the sketch, but I'm also very concerned about the fact that I've already put my photo. I've already got these photo placement areas in place already, so I just need to be careful when I attach my bunting. Of course, it's now sticky, that I get it in the right place, because there's going to be no moving around. I did spend a long time once I'd got my 6 strips cut, working out exactly where they would sit, and then I didn't mark the page with where they would go. So now I've got to get them back in exactly the same position. So anyway, I am differentiating. No, I'm differing from the sketch slightly by going in zigzags as opposed to overlapping in exactly the same way the strings are on the sketch. But that's fine. It still is. You can definitely see the sketch in my layout for sure. No problem there at all. And sketches are just supposed to be used as a starting point, rather than you don't have to stick to them exactly. So yeah, so I'm really happy with how this is looking actually, and I think having them zigzagged in the way that I have makes them look more like bunting and makes them look less messy. When I had them overlapping in the same way as the sketch, they did look a little messy, but that's because they're they're scallops and they're lots of colours, whereas on the sketch they're just plain lines. They don't look messy at all on the sketch, but they did look messy with my my rows of scallops. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. I'm just toying with the idea of adding a border to this layout. I do want to add some machine stitching. I think it's done now, along the top edges of each of the scallop rows. I've done that with a teal thread. I was considering using white, but then it would not really show that well. I considered using navy, but actually I have a teal thread as well, and that one was perfect. It was a perfect colour tone to match the teal in the collection. So I did that all along each of the 6 strips, and I had to do breaks every so often for the photos or whatever else is in the way. But yeah, that's worked out really well, and once you see the close-ups, you can notice the stitching quite a lot, and it looks good. So now I'm just adding in some embellishments. So I'm using the foam stickers. They're kind of like the foam phrase stickers. There's lots of phrases on each on the sticker sheets, and I'm adding those along each of the rows. So at the top, I've got like a navy or teal arrow that says "Do what you love." Next line down, make happiness. Then next line down on top of the photo, orange, happy as can be. Over on the right, you make me smile, which is what I've said that this is the title to this layout. I mean, I could have chosen any of them, to be honest. And at the bottom, pure happiness. That's the banner from the epoxy stickers. So yeah, I've used the foam stickers and then the epoxy as well. And now I'm just going ahead adding lots of different embellishments in different places. I'm looking at the sketch. There's a few areas on the sketch where the embellishment clusters are, but I'm kind of going with that a little bit, but also clustering around my photos, because that kind of makes most sense to me. So I've got epoxy things, stickers, I've got leaves and apples and trees, I've got hearts, I've got butterflies, I've got foam stickers, I've got some chipboard buttons, trees, butterflies, foam stickers as well, a little circle that says give love, and hearts with XO in. So yeah, just kind of building up. I'm trying to stick to a fairly generic embellishments, although the trees and the leaves work really well for this. We we were at an adventure playground, very outdoorsy. These are lovely photos of my 2 boys and my big boy helping my little boy around all the play equipment that was a bit too big for him, and they're just really, really sweet photos. But we also spent a lot of time in the woods that day, so trees and leaves certainly work well for this. And this is very, it was all made of wood, this outdoor adventure playground. So yeah, it was the whole feel of Bungalow Lane goes really well with my photos, even though they're not autumn photos, but it still works well. Okay, so nearly finished now. Pretty much done. Just need to write in some journaling. I'm going to write it in the same place that it's on the sketch. My line is going the other way, but that works okay. Yeah, just handwriting in some journaling there. And now I am all finished. I've just stretched the edges of the layout as well. And that is me done. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give this sketch a go. It was really great fun to do this, very much out of my comfort zone, but it has resulted in a layout I really love. So yeah, give it a go. Don't be put off and enjoy. Thank you very much for joining me. That was Nikki Rowland for Lottie Loves Paper using Paige Evans' Bungalow Lane.